Hey guys, Wolvie here with a special presentation for the City of Final Fantasy Opera Omniel Global for the 20th of July 2020. This will be the analysis of Rydia's rework, and this is not just her kit, also the EX Animation Rework that she has gotten on Global. As with videos like this is going to be my opinion, my opinion only, and I do want to point out that I was thinking about doing another video right after this, but I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to save that for the 30-month video. So that's that on that. So with that being said, this is going to be the pros and cons of her rework. And I will be referring to information from the infographic by the TonberryTroupe alongside the Decidia Database website, which I'll have the Decidia Database website just link in the description below alongside the Twitter handle for the TonberryTroupe, so you guys can look over the information on your own time. So with that all out of the way, I will meet you guys at the home screen, so I will be back. Okay, guys, I am back. So we're just gonna go over the EX Animation Rework first. So we're just gonna show off the little still here. So part of Rydia's EX Animation Rework does involve the Mist Dragon itself. Now, the following what I'm going to say here is a major spoiler from Final Fantasy IV for those who have yet to play it. So, if you guys don't want the Final Fantasy IV spoiler I'm about to provide, you might as well skip this particular section of the video. So basically, so it's in 3, 2, 1. So, towards the very beginning of Final Fantasy IV, Dark Knight Cecil and Kain go into the cave that leads into the Village of Mist. Now, the first boss in Final Fantasy IV is in fact the Mist Dragon itself. Now, once Dark Knight Cecil and Kain defeat the Mist Dragon, they get to Mist, and it turns out they destroy the village itself. And the person they wind up killing in the end of all this was in fact Rydia's mother. So the Mist Dragon is in fact tied to Rydia's mother. Rydia, being all pissed off for a 7-year-old, she just went to town on Dark Knight Cecil and Kain, and that particular set of events wound up separating Dark Knight Cecil from Kain. And the thing is with Cecil, he felt really bad about defeating the Mist Dragon, which in turn wound up killing Rydia's mother. Now, the fact that Dark Knight Cecil wound up keeping Rydia alive actually had Rydia forgiving Cecil for what he did, because she saw how kind Cecil was, and she knew that he didn't mean it. It was a pure accident. And this is kind of pointed out in Rydia's Lost Chapter. So there's a little bit of the backstory behind the Mist Dragon. So before the EX Animation Rework, you only saw like different aspects. You only saw a certain aspect of the animation itself, meaning that animation rework, you did not see the Mist Dragon. Now post rework, you do see it. So this is going to be a quick recap of Rydia's EX weapon pre-realization. So just pause the video, take a screenshot. And now we're going to get into the realized information here. So 0 out of 3 post-realization is Summon Dragon Force Advanced Recast Up. So this has another recast speed raised to the ability slightly. This also has moderate increased break damage, and there is now overflow of up to 120%. So at this point, the recast speed for Summon Dragon goes from slightly slow to now slightly fast. 1 out of 3 post-realization is Mother's Warmth in the Mist extension and attack boost up. This has a moderate raise to her max bravery, also a great raise to her attack stat. 2 out of 3 post-realization is Summon Dragon buff starting recast max. So at the start of the quest, she gets remember that frame buff of hers called Subjugating Strength. She gets that to herself for 8 turns. Now, she also can use Summon Dragon right out of the gate. Now, in addition, with Subjugating Strength here, this now gives a second means to grant the water enchant to the entire party. And anything that she grants or inflicts, meaning that the debuffs she inflicts or the buffs she grants to either herself or to the entire party, it has 2 more turns in the mix. 3 out of 3 post-realization, the Brave attack hit count for Summon Dragon becomes 8. Tremendously increased cumulative brave damage. Raises limit of bravery that may be stolen in excess of max. Goes up from 120% to 150%. Now, with Subjugating Strength, it also has the Brave Attack plus a HP Attack plus. And for this, Rydia does provide the A Sphere, weak power attack shorter. When attacking target's weakness, raises brave damage by 5%, raises attack by 5% for 3 turns. Now, this is very, very much needed for Rydia at this point in the game. But we are not done quite yet. We're going to go into the character adjustments, which entails Rydia's rework with more info. So, for her Crystal Strength level 55 passive ability, pre-rework, she was given 2 more uses of Flare 4, her skill 1. Post-rework, she gets 1 more use. So, the grand total of Flare 4 uses is at 9. This also has 1 more Brave attack hit count, post-rework. And this also deals AoE splash damage, meaning that the intended target gets everything, everybody else gets half. The magic attack up duration, pre-rework, it is 1 more turn. Post-rework, it is at an additional 2 turns after the rework. So the grand total is 3 more turns post-rework. You know what I mean. For Crystal Strength level 60 passive ability, this is the Summon Leviathan extension. She gets 1 more Brave attack hit count here, post-rework. Tremendously increased cumulative brave damage. Now, this is where she gets a second way to inflict the Water in Peril debuff. The granted buff duration to the party is at a few more turns. So that is that on that. So what is the good about Rydia's rework? Like the EX Animation Rework and the realization of her EX ability, this is extremely much needed for Rydia. In her case, being an Imperialist as well as a damage dealer. This is very much needed for her. The fact that she could deal AoE damage in any way, shape, or form, whether it be AoE Splash, AoE Split, or AoE Full, she's got the AoE damage covered. And this is outside the base HP Attack plus. What I also like is that she has more than 1 way to inflict the Water in Peril debuff. And she can extend it at her own will. Which means is that she's freaking powerful. And really good at what she does. For her being tied down to an element, and in Rydia's case, water. With that all being said, team composition is going to be extremely important. Because with Rydia, she really can't maintain her own bravery by herself. So she's one of those units where a brave battery will be her best friend. units like Selfie, Yuna, maybe Lena. Units who can brave her battery, who could be the brave battery. This is something, those type of units are going to be what Rydia will need. Now, if you set Rydia up with her being the damage dealer, and you have your 2 support units, even better. So, on top of the whole thing with team composition right there, and you can't remember the whole thing with Rydia being tied down to an element, this is what's going to hurt her at the same time, because the second anyone is either heavily resistant to magic type damage or absorbs the water element, this is where Rydia will be benched in a hurry. Meaning that in the elemental aspect, it's the same exact problem as other units who are tied down to an element in at least one of their skills. Some of the notables being Gobez, Paladin Cecil, Lightning, Rydia, Maria, Ferris, and you could argue Shatoto here, even Stola. Those you have to be, those all share the same exact problem, meaning that one of their skills at the very minimum is tied to an element. And you have to be extremely careful with team composition. So, with that bit all out of the way, what are my final thoughts here on Rydia's rework? It's very much needed for Rydia, in all honesty, because she is of the water elements in at least skill 2, and now her EX weapon, once you realize it, this can be also a bit of a problem at the same time. Rydia does work best with at least one more support unit. And you have to be extremely careful with team composition in the sense of how do you amplify Rydia the best. If she were to get a secondary rework, I could see the LD playing a role in restoring uses of her skill 2, because honestly, without a good skill 2 for Rydia, in the sense of getting the passes and all that, she'll be among the most reliant on her EX. And I do feel that with Rydia, have the LD tie that into her skill 2, meaning that you use the LD, whatever it is, and she gets a use of skill 2 back, or she is given the Rosa treatment, meaning that you pop off the EX ability and you get a free skill use afterwards, which could really help Rydia with longevity, because honestly, she's got excellent means of longevity as it is, but that can improve as well. So, like I said, I was thinking about doing another video for today, but I'm like, you know what? Now's not the time. And I'm going to save the thoughts on that for the 30-month mark for the DFFOO Global. And the next few videos will be as thus. The first video of 2, the first video, that's coming up next will be the Quistis rework analysis. I've already seen the video for that for JP, so I'm going to look at it on Global very carefully, give a better analysis of that when it comes to Global. So the Quistis rework analysis will be coming up next. The video after that will be wrapping up the reworks and analyses, give my take on who got the best rework, who got the worst rework, and when it comes to a secondary rework for any of the units, will one of them overtake the current top pick? The other video will be the August calendar preview, and then after that will be the 30-month mark video. So that's pretty much the nutshell right there. So with that all the way, I'm going to get going for right now with Wolvie here, signing off. I will catch you all on the flip side.